What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Daily Dose with Dylan Davis. We are streaming to you guys live on the Pain No Lines Network through their Twitter and YouTube accounts, and we are also streaming to you guys live through DSM Media's Twitch account. So if you're new to either channel, please hit that subscribe button. Please hit that follow button. And today I'm joined by my man, George Ryder, here at the Pain No Lines and at DSM Media. George, look, man, I'm going to get your thoughts on the Sixers and Game 7 and the offseason a little bit later in the show. But we're going to switch gears and start with the Phillies, who have not made life as a Philadelphia sports fan any easier over the course of the last week. So, A, how have you been? B, how are you feeling as a Philadelphia sports fan right now?
I've been all right. A little sad. It hasn't been too fun watching Philadelphia sports recently. I was hoping the Phillies might bring a little joy back after that Sixers loss, but it's been nothing but pain. So not great. Not great.
You know what, I was just thinking about? Remember when we went a couple months without sports?
Yeah. That was.
And remember how badly we wanted sports back and our Philly sports teams back.
We're so dumb.
But remember how stress-free, not stress-free life was because we were in the middle of a global pandemic, but just stress-free. My mental health was a lot better without these teams in my life. And the play on the court, on the field, on the ice has not made it any easier lately. And they don't make it any easier off the field or off the court or off the ice recently as well. So let's start here, George. Rhys Hoskins, my man. Okay, let me think how I can phrase this to you. The Philadelphia Eagles were in the basement for me as far as the four teams in this city because of how badly they had pissed me off over this last calendar year, right? And I never in a million freaking years thought that this Phillies team, who I quite frankly did not have very high expectations for, could reach the level of pissed off I am right now by the words that come out of them, that they spew. It would be one thing if the Phillies were competitive, if the Phillies were, not that they're not competitive, they're only a couple games under 500, they're 5 games out of the first place in the division, but you can make comments like, I'm sure you're going to write about that, but don't forget about write about the good stuff too. Rhys Hoskins is batting .224 right now. He just cost the Phillies another game with his piss-poor play in the field at first base. And since, a little before his comments, this slump started. But, George, he's 0 for his last 21 plate appearances.
Yeah, and
pardon me if the Philly media or if me aren't writing about the good stuff. Pardon me if me and George don't get on here and don't rip you a new ass, okay? Because apparently that doesn't happen in the locker room, and that's problem number one, and that's what a large portion of the show is going to be about because the Sixers spent an offseason talking about accountability, right? This Phillies team, this roster, this locker room, from the manager to the players in it, have no accountability, and it's unfreaking believable to me that he made those comments after the piss-poor play that this team is putting out on the field right now.
He has to regret that, right? Because, he comes out yesterday, too, and he goes,
does he?
3 strikeouts. I mean, dude, it's a tough situation. I mean, why make that comment when this team is doing so piss poor in the field, pitching wise, managerial wise, everything? Don't forget to write about the good stuff. What good stuff? What good stuff do we have to come out right now? There's nothing good.
What the one home run he hits every 11 games? Is that the good stuff, Rhys?
Yeah, that one power swing that we see that makes everyone go, whoa, and then back to nothing. It's been piss poor performance by the Phillies. And splitting with the Mets, that's a loss. The Mets are so happy to split with us right now. Yeah. They're so happy. They're like, great, that's awesome.
Yeah, let me keep my 5-game lead here right now.
DeGrom's worst start of the year, you still lost. There you go.
My issue with it, dude, is it's not like he was playing good at the time. It's not. It's just the fact that it seems like no one is held accountable. Odubel Herrera, I don't know if you watched the game last night because I've been trying not to watch the Phillies, but I can't pull myself away from it now that there's
on last night.
Now that there's no more Sixers right now. And I'm watching the first inning, and Odubel leads off with a double, and then he gets over on an out, and then Kutch walks, and they have first and third, 1 out, and he's not paying attention. He's talking to, I believe it's Suarez at third base for the Reds. He's talking to him, not listening to the third base coach, not having a big lead. And then Bryce hits a little chopper to Joey Votto, and he just dogs it home. He got thrown out by 8 years, dude.
That's just not smart.
Did Odubel Herrera get pulled from yesterday's game?
Fuck no.
No. There's no accountability, dude.
Would Gabe have pulled him? Gabe would have pulled him.
Yeah, he might have.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, he might have. And look, and listen, and we're going to get into Joe Girardi in a little bit, but it's not to say that Gabe Kapler would have this Phillies team playing at another level, because this Phillies team, a large portion of their struggles is just that they're not that good. It's not everything that Girardi does is the sole reason they're losing, but it's a large portion of it right now. Whereas, Gabe Kapler has the San Francisco Giants, who have a mediocre roster at the best record in the MLB right now. But back to the Hoskins comments before we move on. I'm trying to put the words together because it's so mind-numbing. It's like the athlete, dude, they're so laid back right now. It's like they don't have a desire to win right now, to be better. And it's like their performance is just okay. Don't forget to write about the good stuff too. What good stuff, Reese? What?
It's just
this bullpen has blown more leads, has blown more saves this last week than there are days in the week. They have blown 7 games in the last 6 days or something like that.
7 blown saves in the last 6 games.
Dude,
that's ridiculous.
It is June 29th. They are a few blown saves away from a franchise record.
Yep.
It's June. The franchise record covers the whole season, George.
Yep.
It's June. There's 3 months of baseball left to be played.
To put it more into perspective, 21 blown saves. It's the most by any team in a 76-game span since the stat started in 1969.
George, this would be like, listen, I'm trying to equate. This would be like Carson Wentz last year coming out with all those turnovers and the losses piling up on the Eagles, and him coming out. Don't forget to write about that touchdown pass. It's like Ben Simmons coming out and saying to the media, don't forget to write about my defense and the good stuff. No. You're losing. There is no good stuff. There are no moral victories. There are no personal player achievements, no pats on the back when you're losing. When this division is as bad as it has been this year, you're still only 5 games out of first place, and it's only June. But I have no faith that they're going to come back because of comments like this. Because of just a laid back. I can't even stand Rhys Hoskins anymore, dude. Talk about one of the nicest guys. You just see Rhys, you hear him speak. He's probably so nice off the field. He's probably a great guy. I can't even stand to look at him anymore after those comments. What are you supposed to write about?
The team is 3-7 in the last 10.
You are 24 points above the Mendoza line.
Dude.
You're 0 for your last 21. You struck out 3 times last night and went 0 for 5 in a loss. But they're supposed to write about the good stuff. Yeah.
3-7. Let it all out. 3-7 in our last 10. -20 run differential. We're only 3.5 back from last place. Don't even say we're 5 away from first because we're 3.5 back from the Marlins going to last. There's no good stuff to write about, Reese. And that was just such a laid-back comment from a guy that is underperforming majorly, and he's just gonna say it to the media after that.
Dude, and now here's another point to the comment.
Ridiculous.
It's not even like there was a fire lit under him from the comment. It's not even like he was pissed off at his and the team's play, and then he was getting annoyed by the media, and he kind of snapped back at the media, which I wouldn't have minded to see, a little fire under this team or Rhys Hoskins because they're frustrated with his play and how they're playing. He sat here, dude. He just sat there yeah, I mean, I'm sure you guys will write about this and that, but don't forget to write about the good stuff too.
Yeah.
What? What are you talking about?
There's nothing good in this organization currently. Zero. Nothing.
No, there's not one right now, dude.
Not one. Zach Wheeler. Aaron Nola.
Okay, yeah, there you go. There you go. There
Aaron
you go.
Nola 10 strikeouts the other night.
Yeah, congrats. Guess what happened in that game too, George? They lost. They lost. So there you go, Reese. I'm sure there were writers out there writing about Aaron Nola's MLB record that he tied for 10 straight batters put down for striking out in a row, striking out 10 straight batters in a row. I'm sure that good thing was written about. Oh, but they lost that game, right, George? So who cares if they're writing about the good stuff?
If you
oh
look,
my God, do you dude? Does he know what city he plays in?
Apparently not.
Not to mention, does he know that a team in the city who had the highest expectations of the 4 major teams right now just got bounced in the second round in a game 7 at home, and he made those comments how many days after that loss? I'm not saying he should be worried about Sixers fans and but read the room, dude. Read the room of this fan base. This fan base is pissed off. The Sixers just got bounced to a lesser talented team in the second round when they were the number 1 seed. You're the only hope right now because there's no other sports in this city going on. The Union are going on, but that's not. I'm talking about the 4 right now.
4 major, yeah.
And you're shitting the bed, but they're supposed to write about the good stuff. Oh my God, I'm sorry. And Dives. I think some of this frustration is stemming from the 76ers. I don't think this is Philly's frustration. But it's also piled up with Sixers frustration. Probably a little bit of Eagles frustration because they start back up in a month, and I'm
You already ready?
I'm eerie. I'm eerie. I want to be ready. I'm sure I will be, but they bothered me more than any team ever has last season. That I'm just I'm a little eerie for that. So yeah, the comments pissed me off.
I mean, it should piss everyone off.
It did.
It was stupid. It was a stupid, lazy comment.
It definitely did. But let's move on here. Let's move on to something else that's been pissing me off, George.
Let's do it. What we got? Nice.
Okay. This is a little shout out to my man Mike Small, who has said to me and a lot of people on multiple occasions that he believes that Joe Girardi is the best manager that the Phillies have ever had. Mike, we're going to need to do an emergency pod, bud, because I need to hear your defense of it right now. And listen, I know what it's going to be. I know it's going to be, well, what other options does he have? He put in Natali Feliz last night. Well, what other option did he really have that he can trust? He put in David Hale. What other option? Listen, it's not that the alternative is a good option. It's better than what he's doing right now. George, who was available last night out of the bullpen? Now, none of these names you're going to list are good names,
but they're
what are the names?
Connor Brogdon and Hector Neris were both available last night to pitch.
And this was the 7th inning, right?
Joe Girardi's mouth post game.
Okay. And he put out who?
Natali Feliz.
Who hasn't pitched in over 1,500 days, I believe?
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah.
I think the Eagles won the Super Bowl since then, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh.
Yeah.
So he decided, while all this heat and while all this focus is on the Phillies right now, in a Spencer Howard 2 2.3 innings pitched last night, in a game that he didn't get through the third, you have a 4-2 lead on the road in the 7th inning because I couldn't even tell you who came in and pitched for Bailey. Who?
Falter.
Oh, okay. Am I supposed to know that name, George?
Newcomer, baby.
Am I supposed to know that name? I'm sorry.
You're not supposed to.
I just wanted to check in there.
Nope.
He comes in and surprises the hell out of me, and he keeps the Phillies at a 4-2 lead.
Yep.
And you said it before the show. Why'd he pull him? Yeah, I mean, he could have let it ride out. I mean, the kid had pitched a bunch of innings, thrown a bunch of pitches at this point. His pitch count was getting up there. He had 1 out and a runner on first. Natali Feliz was the answer. You know what happened after that, George?
A whole lot of
base runner, grand slam. No. Yeah. Guess what? Your 2-run lead just turned into a 2-run deficit. Like that.
You know what I think the worst part is about that? Post game, Joe Girardi says, we like him in that spot. We like Feliz in that spot. That's what he said out of his mouth.
That is the problem, dude. That's what I'm talking about when I talk about accountability. Okay? It starts with him. He is the manager. He is the leader of this locker room. He is the championship caliber manager, right? That we thought we were bringing in here.
Yep.
You have to own up. You either have to, I'm not saying throw your players under the bus because we don't like that either, but you have to hold them accountable. You have to say, you know what, we didn't have the piece. I don't really, have this piece, or he wasn't, this guy, a couple of these guys weren't available tonight, blah, blah, blah. You don't come out after that disaster and say that you liked him in that spot. You like the dude that hasn't pitched in over 1,500 days in that spot. That's what you like.
You would think, right, as a manager, a guy that hasn't pitched in 4 years, you're probably going to put him in a bullshit situational inning, not
you would think that, George. You
right?
would.
Like that's what a logical manager should do.
Right.
You're not going to put him in a high leverage situation when you're on a streaky losing streak and you kind of have to win. Like you have to start winning now. We're 5 games back. It's time to start winning. Putting him into that situation was just boneheaded. Like it was stupid. Everyone knew what was coming. That was the most predictable inning anyone could ever see. It really was.
Dude, listen, again, I get this roster isn't great. I get the bullpen sucks again, so he doesn't have a lot of arms to go to. I get that the back end of this rotation is so beat to shit that Vince Velasquez has found himself in a starting role again.
Yep.
I get that they're injured because they have been. Bryce Harper has missed over 20 games of 70-some this season. Didi Gregorius, Gene Segura, JT Realmuto, relievers, Archie Bradley, like they're hurt. I get it. He has still cost them multiple games this year because of his decision making. We just talked about the one last night, and that's just one example because it's so fresh in my mind. Me and George, before the show, were talking about the Mets. Was it the Mets game with Zach Eflin when he lets him bunt in the bottom half of the inning? Or were we on the road?
Top half of the seventh.
Top half of the inning, sorry.
Yeah.
And then you yank him in the seventh. What are you letting him bunt? What are you letting him step in the batter's box for if you're yanking him the next half inning? That is a mistake. How about, you remember, George, when he used 2 mound visits in one inning, forgot that he already used a mound visit?
Didn't know.
He just forgot.
He's forgot.
Yeah.
Or like when you put in David Hale against the Nationals.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah. Because he doesn't trust his guys, I guess.
Yeah. What else am I missing here? Oh, what about the other day I'm watching? It was against the Mets. I think it was the 105 game or whatever. I forget. And the Phillies had were making some noise with the bats early in the game. Might have been the first inning, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
Jankowski's in the 5-hole.
Yep.
Jankowski's in the 5-hole, George. I get it. It sucks that Jankowski even has to be put in the lineup. So that comes back to, giving him a little bit of an excuse. If Jankowski has to be in the lineup, guess where my man's going, George? At the bottom of the lineup.
Where he belongs? Exactly.
Not in the middle of the goddamn order. It's decisions like this over and over and over again. From bullpen to pulling guys to leaving guys out there for too long, to his lineup, to just everything, dude.
It's sad because this team sucks. Like, this team isn't good. We're not a winning team. We're a losing team. It's okay. Like, it's fine. But Girardi has added negative value to this team. He hasn't improved us. He doesn't make us any better. He makes us worse, which is the saddest part. We get Girardi. It was like I was a Gabe Kapler supporter. Like, I feel like I
wasn't.
Yeah, you weren't, but that's fine. When we got Joe Girardi, it was over. It was the most easy decision in the entire world. The organization's easiest decision. Getting Joe Girardi in for Gabe Kapler, everyone's happy. You have a manager, a championship caliber manager. You have a guy that has experience. You got your guy. He sucks. He's a terrible manager.
Like, dude, there's no light at the end of the tunnel for me right now.
There isn't. We have and I think the worst part is the reason why you have Phillies in your roster now our organizational depth is terrible. It's awful.
They
It's awful.
can't find a prospect. I've never seen anything like it, George. How many guys do they draft per year?
Cornelius Randolph. Oh my gosh.
Hold on. How many players do they draft per year?
A lot of players.
A lot, George.
A lot of
because
players. MLB draft. MLB draft.
Because they have how many? They have single A, double A, triple A. And then they're
you got lower time. You got lower too.
Right. Oh, yeah, you're right. They do. Sorry. Oh, so they draft 40 to 50 players a year. They can't find a prospect anywhere. They can't pull one out of their ass. And it's mind-boggling, dude.
And it sucks because Spencer Howard, man. Spencer Howard was the
guy. Done.
Dunzo.
Nada.
Dunzo.
Finished. That
Can't
kid, it's like it's like a running joke. Like, wow, like Spencer Howard's on the bump tonight. Can Spencer Howard get through the third inning? No, he literally cannot. And the sad part is, George, he cruised through the first two innings. He looked great through the first two innings, and then something somewhere along the line in the third, that was it.
That was it.
Oh my God,
it's mind blowing. It's
all
sick.
Right. Moving on, I guess we'll go here. The bullpen, I can't even really touch on the bullpen for a long time because it's just so sickening to me, George. It's every offseason they make some moves, just like this year when they completely revamped the bullpen. Basically, they brought in Jose Alvarado, Archie Bradley, Kinsler, Coonrod. Brogdon was coming back up. He had some guys. And in the beginning of the season, it looked great.
Very good. Very good.
George, it might be worse than last year.
They are worse than last year. Which is insane.
They might be worse than an historically bad bullpen in 2020. Historically, do you know what that means? That means one of the worst ever. This year's Phillies bullpen might top that one.
Yep.
They might do it.
See, and it sucks because we getting some guys, some names, Alvarado, getting Archie Bradley, getting some guys in there, getting Brogdon in there that you knew he was going to take a step. That's what you thought. Everything was looking all right. Like it was going to be an average bullpen, was my thought. We're going to be an average bullpen. We're not going to be great. We're going to be okay. No. We are terrible.
What did we say all offseason to each other and on our different shows, George? If they could just be middle of the pack.
It's easy to build a bullpen. It is so easy to get guys in there. It's so easy to build a bullpen. They can't do it. They can't do it. Sorry, a bullpen should be easy.
I'm looking something up.
Look it up. What we got?
All right. So he hasn't been great, but I remember he was. So I was just looking up. Do you remember they didn't keep Tony Watson?
Oh yeah.
So at one point this year he was tearing it up. Tony Watson in 2021, he's 3-3 with a 5.25 in 28 games, 24 innings pitched, 16 strikeouts. He's got a 1.1 WHIP. Listen, I haven't looked up the numbers of the Phillies bullpen. I'll bet you that's astronomically better than 95%.
That's better than Archie. I know. That's better than Archie. It's
all
sad.
Right. And then the last part of this Phillies half of the show is here, George. We are just under a month away from the MLB trade deadline. And I just want to pose this to everyone. Should the Phillies be buyers or sellers? And who? So I was talking to George before the show, and I've said it a couple times on the show today, that they're only 5 games back from first place. They've been so bad, but they're 4 games under 500. They're 5 out of first place. Maybe they make a little bit of a run. Maybe by July 30th or 31st or whenever that trade deadline is, George, what if they're a game and a half or 2 games out of first place for the division, right? And they're playing better baseball. What do you do? But I can't fool myself. For a slight second, I was like, well, if they can get there, maybe you don't be sellers. No, you said it already. This team is not good. They should be better. This lineup should be very, very, very good.
Mhm.
You have a 1-2-3 of Zach Wheeler, Aaron Nola, and Zach Eflin, which is pretty damn good in my opinion.
Yep.
So if you could just find a few pieces in the bullpen, maybe a fourth starter, maybe you would have something. I don't buy it, dude. I'm selling at the deadline, and I'm looking forward to 2022.
Yeah. I'm not gonna buy into this team. Like, if we're a game and a half back, like you said, going to the deadline, it doesn't matter. We're not good. Like, we could get hot. That's fine. This division's very close. Like, we're a very shaky division, but we're not a good team. So, if we're a game and a half back, like, I don't know what you're gonna do. Do you stay pat? Like, they could go
Right.
any direction, and it's like if you want to be buyers, you can dangle Rafael Marcon, our catching prospect. Like, he's probably the best trade piece you have. Who else do you have? You want to trade Gene, maybe, but he's raking. You want to trade, Double, but like center field's so weak right now. It's such a bad situation, dude. We don't have any assets. We have no assets to give.
Exactly. So let me pose this to you and to everyone.
Go ahead.
You threw out a couple names to me about who you could sell because there's no more. You said it. We have no prospects. We have no assets to sell. Right?
You're not
young
giving
assets.
You're not giving up Bryson Stott.
Right. You're not doing that. Right. You laid out Rhys Hoskins. Dude's got no value.
0.
Gene Segura doesn't have much value.
Yeah.
Okay? There's this whole Bryce Harper thing going around on Twitter right now, and I think it's the most asinine thing I've ever seen.
Stupid.
About trading Bryce Harper in year 3 of 13 with now, when he got the 330, everyone was like, holy shit, 330. What's his AAV? 24, 25?
25.
That's great right now for Bryce Harper.
That's amazing.
Yes, he's been injured. He's underperforming a little bit this year. I know all of his home runs are without any runners on base. He hasn't gotten many hits with runners in scoring position this year or whatever the stat is that I saw earlier. I get it. Bryce Harper has been worth every single penny for the first 2 years of his Phillies tenure. And he's struggling this year as the whole team is, and he's been battling injury after injury. Okay, so stop it. I get the whole, he might want to leave because, they're not putting together a winning roster.
You can't.
Blah, blah.
You can't leave.
He put in a no trade clause.
You're locked in, buddy.
He said he doesn't want to go anywhere. He wanted to find a home.
Build for him.
So that is nonsense to me. Here's the name I'll throw at you guys. Aaron Nola.
Whoo!
George?
I think Aaron Nola has a ton of value. I think you can get a pretty good haul for Aaron Nola. The biggest reason I wouldn't trade him is I love his contract. His extension was like...
But so are other teams.
I know, that's the thing.
Makes 5 years, higher.
5 years, $45 million. I think he's a year into that. I think it's the second year.
I forget.
Yeah, so, dude, it's a very valuable piece. Like, if you actually are looking to get a haul and get some prospects and trade a top name, Aaron Nola's your guy. Am I trading Aaron Nola? No, I can't trade Aaron Nola. I can't do it.
Why not? Let me ask you why not.
Well, I mean, all right, I like this rotation's top 3. I like Nola, Wheeler, and I like Eflin. I think Wheeler's your ace, and I think you really have like a number 2 borderline ace guy in Nola. Yeah, he's had shaky starts this year, but you know what he is. Yeah.
Shaky?
Okay. No, you're right. No, you are right.
I do like Aaron Nola.
I know.
And I want to love Aaron Nola.
I know.
He is not an ace.
I think
not
super solid number 2 guy.
I think he's a good number 2. Maybe, dude. His mediocre performances outweigh the wow. Don't get me wrong. When that dude is on, he's on early and often, all around the plate. His off-speed stuff is excellent. And he strikes out 10 in a row. We've seen when he's on.
Yeah.
The mediocre performances outweigh those by a freaking mile. You said it. His contract is great, which could be great for the Phillies, but it's also going to be eyebrow raising to teams that are looking to get a top starter out there at the deadline. And like I said, he's underperformed. But George, he hasn't just underperformed this year. What was the story this offseason? Can Aaron Nola bounce back? Why was that a story, George? Because he underperformed the year before that. So we're going on 2 years now of a guy who was supposed to be an ace after being in the top 3 for Cy Young, for the Cy Young Award in 2017 or 2018, wherever it was.
10 award that year. That was insane.
And he's underperformed since.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the real Aaron Nola is, and I'm not saying I do it. I'm just saying it's a thought because he's the one guy that would have value. You said it. Zach Wheeler would definitely have value, but he's got a high contract, so I'm not sure teams are going to love that. And he's our ace, so I'm really not trying to sell our ace, okay? I'm not trading Bryce. Outside of that, what do you have? I'm not trading Bryce or JT. I'm not giving up on Alec Boehm yet, even though his defense is tragic.
Dropping pop flies, dude.
But, George, do you see the sad reality? They have nothing else to give. Nada.
They have nothing. No, you're right. And
no one wants Odubel. No one wants McCutchen. No one wants Gene. No one wants Reese. Not a lot of people want Didi. No one wants Andrew Knapp. No one wants Nick Maton. No one wants anyone out of your bullpen. I promise you that. No one wants Vince Velasquez. No one wants Chase Anderson. No one wants Matt Moore, Spencer Howard. You have nothing.
What about Eflin?
Yeah, maybe he's got good stock. Maybe.
Yeah. But, I agree with you. I think Nola, and I would love to see some trades for Nola. I would love to see what the offers would be.
What the market is. Yeah, I agree. Because I'm not underselling for Nola just to get some prospects back or whatever. But it'd be interesting to see what the market is.
Yeah, definitely interesting. And who knows with Dombrowski? I mean, he wants to win. You know he does want to win. I don't think.
Yes, but you have to be realistic. I want to win. Do you want to win, George?
I want to win really bad.
Yeah. But does this team have the makeup to win right now?
Fuck no.
Does this team with a few little tweaks to it to this roster?
No. We need a whole haul. There's no little tweaks that are going to.
You need an entire new bullpen.
Yep.
You need 2 or 3 new starters.
Yep.
And you got to see what happens with the lineup after this year. So yeah, and a few little tweaks and turns aren't gonna make this team a contender. So I know Dombrowski wants to win. And I want to win. 2021 ain't it for the Philadelphia Phillies. And hey, maybe they go on a run. If they go on a run and make the playoffs, trust me, even though I don't truly believe that they can contend, I'll still be all in come playoff time. And no, that is not me being a front runner because I was so down on them, blah, blah. No, they suck right now. If they make it, I'll talk myself into it, even though it won't happen.
Easy. I will buy back in so fast. I love watching them win, but no, I don't have confidence in this team unless we actually start winning games and catching up this division lead because it's embarrassing. We're an embarrassing team. That's it. It's a mediocre. It's hard to watch now. You don't even want to watch. You don't even want to watch.
And it has come there's no worse time for it, dude. After it's this stall period of the summer where there's still the Stanley Cup just started last night. The NBA, the conference finals are still going on in the West and the East for the NBA. But for Philadelphia, this is it. Training camp doesn't open up for a month. No Flyers. Sixers just got bounced and underperformed. So the most exciting thing right now is what we're about to get into. And it's Sixers off season. It's game time. So George, this is going to be a running thing. It's going to be a running thing in Philadelphia for weeks and on weeks. And we're not going to be any different here.
No. Because
I think change is necessary. But I haven't gotten to speak to you really about it. And I know we're going to share the same, the same pain and, kind of sadness when it comes to 2-5 because we were all on board. Me, you, Gint, Scotty, Brock, we all kind of share the same ideology of Ben and the same hope for Ben and, what we think he can be. But the cold, hard fact is he's not right now, dude. The cold, hard fact is that something up here it isn't working when he steps into the bright lights, and he's afraid of the moment at the moment, and he's afraid to fail, and he's afraid to score. Danny Green has been saying it, which is pretty eye-opening to me.
Yep.
And I think one of the cold hard fact, George, is the whole idea of this Sixers team was that you had two superstars.
Yeah.
The fact is you have a superstar and Ben Simmons.
Yep. You have a superstar who deserves more.
And you have a superstar who is going to be 27 years old, who continues to battle major injuries throughout the course of his career. And he's 7'2", God knows what he weighs. So his prime is right now, and he's not going to have 8 more years left on that prime.
Nope.
Let me get your thoughts on just the collapse at the end of the series and what you think needs to happen this offseason.
Something's got to change. And I know everyone wants to trade Ben Simmons right now, and I completely understand that. We died on that hill. We supported him like forever. We always clap back at people, but the matter of fact is he wasn't good enough, and he was a big part of that loss in the series. Now, if Embiid had another superstar to pair with him, like Dame, this team is just so much different. So I'm not trading Ben Simmons for nothing at his lowest point this offseason. That's not going to happen. If you're not getting Dame out of it, or a superstar, or some guy at it, like something that you can pair with Embiid that he deserves, you're going to let him play in the regular season. You're going to up his trade value because that's what he does. He's a regular season player. You know he's going to perform. His defense is going to be outstanding. You up his trade value, maybe you look at the deadline. But, man, something's got to happen. Doc's got to figure out how to adjust mid-game. You got to get somebody in here that complements Embiid in a way that Ben Simmons just can't, and someone that can score the way Ben Simmons just can't, which sucks because, dude, Ben Simmons can get to the rack, and we've seen him get to the rack. We've seen him do it, but mentally, it's like the yips. Like that series was so sad to watch. When he didn't go for that dunk, that is when it was over. When he didn't go for that dunk, right? That was when everyone.
You know why we died on that hill, George, that you just brought up?
Because he has the talent, man.
It's not just that, but it's because we believe he would fix the issues that people were complaining about in the regular season. We thought wouldn't occur in the postseason. The 6 points, the 4 points, the lack of aggressiveness, the stalling the offense. We thought that wouldn't happen, and it did. And I reached my breaking point, and I can't excuse it anymore. That does not mean I'm shipping Ben Simmons out automatically. Does not mean I don't want Ben Simmons on no matter what this next season. It doesn't mean I want Ben Simmons to prove me and everyone else wrong. Yeah. I can't defend 4 shots and 5 points in a game 7 when you're the point guard. I can't defend single digits points for the last I don't know how many games of a playoff series. I can't defend 0 shot attempts in 4 straight fourth quarters of a playoff series. I can't defend it anymore. I won't. I refuse to do it. I hope he locks himself in the gym. He's not competing in the Olympics. I hope he figures it out. This is a great comment right here. Leopards generally don't change their spots unless something traumatic happens. The Atlanta meltdown from Ben is that moment. He either swims or sinks next season, and you're completely right. I would love nothing more for him to come out next season and shoot the damn ball, to shoot with the appropriate hand.
Yeah.
Okay? I just can't. My issue right now is I won't let my heart fall for it again, for the open gym video workouts, for the pulling up from 35 and knocking it down after hitting someone with a crossover and then it not happening again. This is going to be year 5. I just mentioned Embiid. You cannot continue to waste Joel Embiid's prime because he is the best chance this team has at a championship since I don't know how long.
Since 2001. Like, legitimately.
But better than, dude, because they had Iverson and a bunch of role players in 2001.
Yeah, Embiid
Going
is
against
the
Kobe
guy.
and Shaq and the Lakers. Like, I don't remember that series. I was freaking 2-3 years old. Okay. But I don't know how a lot of people in Philadelphia really had faith they were going to beat. Maybe they did. But I don't know if a lot of people really had faith they were going to beat Kobe and Shaq Lakers with just AI. But he's your best chance. And it's getting wasted for a 24-year-old that just won't shoot. And I can't, you know what, dude? I can't argue the fact that they play 4-on-5. I'm not saying it's completely 4-on-5 basketball in the half court. It's not.
No, it's not.
But do you know how much easier life would be for Joel Embiid if he had a guard that was a threat? Not even just a threat, but like put aside like Damian Lillard or Bradley Beal, just a threat.
You can't have your big man being the number one offensive guy in crunch time in a playoff game. It was all on Embiid's shoulders. That's not what's supposed to happen. You can't let that happen. And I think Embiid's sick of it too. I mean, you saw his reaction when Simmons passed up the dunk opportunity. Yeah. Good comment though.
No, and this is a great comment. I don't give a shit about the three either.
Shit if he never shoots a three again.
I don't care if he shoots a 20-footer. If he knocked down his free throws and he had a consistent little jump hook, or if Ben Simmons had a floater, game over, bro. Just something to his offensive arsenal. He has nothing. He lacks touch around the rim. He has no offensive arsenal, and he shot 30% from the free throw line and then won't shoot from the field. I can't defend that anymore. And the only thing with this is, yeah, you're right. I'm not trading Ben just to trade him. There's probably 3 guys. I'm sure if another guy came out, but there's 3 guys that I can think of that I would do it for. Damian Lillard, a guy that I said no about before, but I would do it now, Bradley Beal, and a guy I said no about before, but I would do it now, Zach LaVine.
All right, I was going to say.
Those are the 3 names that are like out there that they could be moved, that I would move Ben Simmons for, that I wouldn't have done before, but I will now because I just think change is necessary, and if those guys are available, you do it. The issue, and I had a comment yesterday, and I don't know if Ryan means the same thing about bringing in a guard and keeping Ben. The issue with that is if Ben doesn't improve his offensive game, if you're just bringing in another guard to space the floor, positions don't really matter. So I had a commenter yesterday say, move Ben to the 4. That's basically what he was, George.
It doesn't matter.
He was a point forward. He brought the ball up, but he played in the dunker spot on the half court.
Yep.
It's basically positionless basketball anymore. So that solves nothing. You have 2 options. You move him, or he gets his head out of his ass offensively. That's it. Without one of those 2 things happening, the Sixers aren't winning a championship. He either figures it out and he becomes a 25-year-old phenom like we all thought he could be and all hoped he will be, or you move him for a splash like Dame or Bradley Beal or Zach LaVine to pair with Joel Embiid and Seth Curry and Tobias Harris. George, think about that offense.
Dude, Embiid deserves that. He deserves it after all this. Like, if you paired him with one of those guys, oh my God, this offense would just look so much smoother.
Because you know where I'm at, George? We love the defense here in Philadelphia. We love the hustle, the grit, the intensity. Yeah, we love it, George. Can I tell you a sad truth? We overvalue the hell out of it.
Doesn't win a ring.
We overvalue the living hell out of it. The Atlanta Hawks are not a good defensive team. It was said before this year that they couldn't play a lick of defense. They held the Sixers to under 100 points 3 times that I can remember in the second round. George, good offense will always beat great defense. The whistles don't favor the defender. They favor the offensive player. And it's just the set. What do you always hear when a guy makes a crazy shot over great defense? Great defense, better offense. And that's the reality of it. I'm not saying you can't play a lick of defense because you're not winning a championship that way either, okay? But the cold, hard truth is the Sixers had a Defensive Player of the Year candidate, first team All-NBA. They had 2 second-team All-NBA defenders. And you know what it got them? A second-round exit because they couldn't score.
To an inferior opponent, which is
exactly. So think about an offense of Damian Lillard, Seth Curry, Tobias Harris, Joel Embiid. You still have Shake Milton and George Hill coming off the bench. You have to figure it out with the 3. Maybe you bring back Danny Green on a cheap deal. I don't know what you do with the 3. Not my decision to make, but think about that. Think about Bradley Beal. Think about Zach LaVine, any of them. Obviously, Dame's the target we all want, but there's other guys out there. It's going to be very interesting because I don't think Daryl Morey brings them back, dude.
I don't think so either. But just watching Dame absolutely torch the Nuggets that one game, take them to overtime, make over 10 threes. Dude, imagine Dame and Philly with Embiid.
Imagine a Dame and Embiid pick and roll. Imagine a Bradley Beal or Zach LaVine. That's the thing. Dame is the number 1, obviously. He's my pipe dream.
I'll take those 2.
Either one of those. And here's where I'll wrap up today's show. I know I keep sitting here saying you don't just move Ben Simmons to move him. You don't move him for a bag of chips. The end goal of a Ben Simmons trade would be to push the Sixers closer to a championship than they already are. Where are they right now, George? They were a number 1 seed who can't get past the second round. So you have to do something to excel that, to push them from that, right? That roadblock. Trading Ben Simmons for Andrew Wiggins. Trading Ben Simmons for D'Angelo Russell. Trading Ben Simmons for Buddy Hield and Marvin Bagley does not push the Sixers to a championship. It makes them worse. You do not do those deals.
Not even close.
Now listen, I'm not saying that Ben Simmons holds the stock to bring in a Bradley Beal, a Zach LaVine, or Damian Lillard after the playoff performance he just had. He doesn't anymore, okay? But he is a 24-year-old kid who was the Defensive Player of the Year candidate, who is a 2-time All-Star, has all these accolades, triple-doubles, everything, who if you pair him with a Tyrese Maxey or Matisse Thybulle with first-round draft picks and pick swaps, maybe a third team gets involved, a la Minnesota, who wants him pretty bad, reportedly.
Yep.
There's ways to get it done. Ben Simmons doesn't hold the stock we thought he would have a couple months ago when the James Harden trade was floating around and he would be the centerpiece. He's not that big of a centerpiece anymore currently because, like you said, George, his stock is at an all-time low right now. Something can still get done because a Portland, a Washington, a Chicago, a Minnesota, if they get involved, however, and as a third team, they will look at that 24-year-old and they'll think, I can fix him.
I can unlock the potential.
Exactly.
And, so many teams are going to be thinking that, and that's the thing. His stock might be at an all-time low, but they all know.
Yeah. He says, before we wrap up, what's plan B if we can't get Beal, Dame, or LaVine?
Plan B is you probably have Simmons on your roster for half the year. You see how
if I'm Daryl Morey, Ben Simmons is still on the roster.
And you see how high you can go.
There's other things you can do, man. Like there's other ways you could finagle a Kyle Lowry to Philly because you're not trading Ben Simmons for Kyle Lowry.
No.
I had a couple people saying that yesterday. You do not do
that. What? No.
That does not make you better.
And he's what? 10 years older than Ben?
35?
35 years old.
Kyle Lowry here. There's other options. Daryl Morey could figure other stuff out but the bottom line is if it's not for one of those 3, Ben Simmons, or like I said, a guy that's not being shopped at the moment. You know what I mean? There could be names that come out in a month or 2 weeks that I would be like, yeah, I would trade Ben for. But these are the 3 names that I think are realistically available. And if it's none of those and no one else becomes available, Ben Simmons is a 76er, but he has to figure it out. And that's the bottom line.
Yep.
No more having his half-brother and his dad as his shooting coach. No more having...
No more yes men. Like it's
no more being coddled by your family and friends, Ben. Guess what?
Coddled Ben Simmons too. And
and I won't do it anymore.
It's over now, Ben. Like it's time to figure it out.
Listen, that is another thing that this commenter brought up earlier. 3 years ago, we watched Joel Embiid cry down the tunnel. Yeah. And it changed him. It unlocked a different Joel Embiid. Is Ben Simmons that same dog?
Not even close.
Let's see. This would have to be a mentally changing moment, a career-defining moment for Ben Simmons. And we'll see what happens in the offseason. He either puts in the work or Daryl Morey puts in the work on the phones. For myself, for George, everybody, have a nice night and go Sixers.